we sort of felt, look, this is an entertainment product. It should be fun. Even FanDuel, when we were building it, we were so nervous about regulations and litigation that we were like, let's be really boring, like be a bank, just like really boring and not risk it. And with the brand, and we felt with BetHog, no, we want to go out there and be like a fun brand. Betting is entertaining. We're going to embrace that.
You're listening to 15M Mastering, a show that empowers you with insights from the leading iGaming experts to enhance your personal or business performance. The show is brought to you by tech-driven affiliate and media company Already Media, and supported by the AI-powered data analytics platform Blask. And Yo Investments, a fund manager investing in outstanding people who are disrupting the iGaming, fintech, and crypto industries. Hey everyone, and welcome to 15M Mastery. Today we're joined by one and only Nigel Eccles, CEO and co-founder of BetHog. Nigel is a serial entrepreneur who has built multiple companies in the gaming and gambling space, including FanDuel. In this episode, we explore how online gambling is being reshaped through new game formats, streaming, and social experiences. Welcome, Nigel.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
It's so nice to have you here. You had such a remarkable journey in the industry, and your new venture, BetHog, is really creating a lot of noise in the industry these days. So I'm really happy to have you with us here to get into the brain behind this incredible company. So let's start with the first question. How have player expectations changed in the recent years, and what do they want traditional games cannot offer?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I guess in any industry, that's something that you really explore. And to some extent, is it player demand or is it actually supplier innovation? Like, people before the iPhone knew they hated their phone, right? Like, I don't know if you remember pre-iPhones, they had like a Nokia and you had like this Java platform. It was terrible experience. We knew we hated it, but we didn't know exactly what we wanted. We just wanted a great phone that worked, and we wanted. I think we knew we wanted applications. We wanted, web browsers that was better. And I think that's probably the same in gaming, which is users like they know what they like. They know there's certain things that are maybe a little flat and boring. That's our view, is that we think, but they don't. You can't really ask them how do you want it to be better, right? Like that's not very successful. I think you have to get there iteratively, where you kind of like, as I view ourselves as game designers, go, okay, we think it's a little flat and boring. Like as a player myself, how do we make this more fun? How do we make it more engaging? How do we make it richer? And we roll it out, and often we're wrong, and then then we get feedback, and then we iterate, and so that's kind of our approach. So I don't think I've never interviewing users. I think can give you good, I would call sort of iterative improvement. They're like, this button's in the wrong place. This game is too slow. But it won't give you like transformational. Like they won't be like, here's a great idea, boom, and you're like, wow, that's great, So I think that's kind of how we approach it. So we definitely interview users with regard to what is the kind of the iterative, but we sort of think our job is to like wow them and could release something that's like, oh, okay, that's really cool, that's fun.
So is this more about kind of reshaping the existing formats, like as you said, making them better, making them you mentioned faster, but I guess just respinning the gameplay, or trying to come up with something like brand new as the game kind of concept and mechanic?
Yeah, so I think our thinking has evolved a little bit. We spent a little bit of time thinking of new games, and then in fact, like kind of new game formats. We discovered that users, and this kind of probably shouldn't have been a surprise, users are actually quite conservative about adopting new games. Like they know the games they like, they want to go back to them. This is a leisure activity. It takes them a lot of time to want to try a new product, but they do love new spins on existing products, and they do love that you take. So, for example, blackjack. Blackjack's been around for maybe 150 years. It's a game they know. It's a game they love. It's a game I personally love. I played probably millions of hands of blackjack by now. And I keep coming back to it. And I don't, if somebody said, oh, we've got this new game, it's like blackjack, but it's like different rules. And I'm like, I just don't think I would play it because there's such a learning cost. But if, as we've done, we said, okay, we're going to take blackjack and we're going to give you an AI powered dealer. And that dealer is going to know your name. And that dealer is going to remember that you played yesterday and you had a loss and you come back and they're going to chat to you. And they're going to, if you're like, oh, it's 16 against or it's a 12 against a 10, that's a little bit of a harder one. What should I, no, 16 against a 10, what should I do? So that sort of idea, which is, oh, this is actually the same game, but we've actually made it a lot better. And we've used like AI to actually create something that's really fun and engaging. So that's how we kind of think about it is it's not a new game. It's an existing game. You know how to play it, but we actually made the game experience a lot better.
I love it. So sometimes, operators, they're very traditional and you kind of mentioned this as well. So there are like plenty of game mechanics, which everyone is kind of attached to. So what are the main challenges actually stopping operators from experimenting with new game formats added to the platforms?
Yeah, so I think there's a few things. I think, I think that some operators have been a little bit burnt in that they spent a lot of time creating new game titles and no one played them. I think also a lot of the operators are really marketing first. They don't really have big engineering teams. They haven't seen a big return on investment on investing there. And they're like, well, why would we? Like, people just want the basics. I think also there's a little bit of, a number of people have said to me and said, well, you think you can like come up with new game, like you could innovate here? Like, which kind of surprised me. I'm like, I think every industry, but particularly this one, there's definitely opportunity for innovation. But yeah, I think there's a little bit of conservatism. They're like, well, I don't think players want to play new titles. And we think our titles are good enough. And so I just think there's a little bit of like, we don't think we're going to have, why don't we just put it into marketing that always pays back as opposed to, let's hire, like an engineering team and then designers and take the risk that it totally fails. I think there's a little bit of conservatism in the industry.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's like when you have a very easy and kind of straightforward ROI built into the certain vertical, you just, keep spinning it. So
it's kind of like I always sort of joke about it is if I had two levers and one lever gives me like a guaranteed 3 to 5x return, and then there's another lever that mostly will zero, it'll take a long time. I probably would stop pulling the lever on the right, the one that, is the uncertain one. And I'd be like, yeah, let's just play it safe. So yeah, I just think this industry is ripe for lots of innovation.
Yeah, 100%. So you mentioned player acquisition, so I really want to talk about that part a little bit more. So, so you guys are working like in the crypto and Web3 kind of part of the iGaming right now, and it feels like the acquisition channels are shifting a little bit towards streaming a lot in this particular niche. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts why you think streaming is such a powerful tool for bringing new players.
Yeah, I think streaming did a lot for iGaming. I think one of the things that just kind of legitimized it, people didn't know that other people were playing, right? It's just kind of like it was this sort of activity that happened. And whenever, we went to streaming, suddenly like people could see that other people were playing and it was fun. And so they were like, oh, okay. Like, that I think was actually one of the most important ones. I think that it created a really nice crossover between, video gaming and iGaming, which, it's funny because they share the same name. They're both called gaming. But they actually, and so many times, like actually earlier this week, I know it was actually end of last week, somebody was pitching me their video game business. And this is the thing we're doing with video gaming. And I had to stop him and said, like, I don't know that industry. Like, I just, I play video games and I'm really interested in them. I'm really interested in the industry. But it's a very, very different industry from the one that I'm in. It behaves completely differently. Player motivations are quite different. And so it's a little dangerous. So I said, like, I'll give you advice, but there's a big health warning on this, which is that this is not my vertical. Like I understand iGaming, video gaming. I don't understand it to the same depth. And so that's kind of an interesting, something to watch. But so it has been really good, and it's sort of brought people over from like CSGO and then CSGO skin betting, and it's brought them over to iGaming.
But okay, the acquisition part is easy to understand, but can it help from the engagement and retention point of view as well?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Because engagement retention is just like it keeps the product front of mind for that user. That if they are a regular on like a Kick or a Twitch, and then they come back and they see it again, it reminds them. It if the gaming platform like we do regular kind of events, how does that person know about it? Obviously there's email and there's messaging, but actually having a streamer who is kind of some extent the face of the product then can kind of share it with the community. So it really helps drive retention as well.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree with you because, everyone is just so focused on the acquisition in our industry. Sometimes the engagement and retention is like super forgotten by everyone. And it feels like no matter what channel and the part of your marketing mix can amplify that element, I think they should be getting like a bigger priority.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it is true that retention is a little bit of the sort of the ugly stepchild of marketing. It's kind of like it's all about acquisition, and you just assume, oh well, the product retains people. That's I think there's actually a lot of truth in that, which is if you don't have a great product, then it doesn't matter how much you spend on retention. Like, and it's like and it's way why we at BetHog have just like we focus so much on product. Like we launched last November, but even then we felt it was a beta. It's only really in the last month or so we felt no, this is like a tier one product. And if you don't have that product, then no amount of emails and promos and bonusing to try and retain people is going to work because it's just not a good product. So product is core to retention, but there is a really big part of what marketing needs to do on top of that to kind of keep people engaged and why they should keep coming back.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. So I think by looking at BetHawk and what you guys are doing, it feels like a social element and the brand element has been a major part of your focus. So thinking about the future where the industry and BetHawk specifically is going, what would a more social gambling experience should look like online?
We had a lot of thoughts about this. The first thing, and right at the start, was we wanted to create a product with real personality. Um, we felt that a number of the operators in this space, even their brands were just very dry and mechanistic. And we sort of felt, look, this is an entertainment product. It should be fun. Even FanDuel, when we were building it, we were so nervous about regulations and litigation that we were like, let's be really boring, like be a bank, just like really boring and not risk it. And with the brand, and we felt with BetHog, no, we want to go out there and be like a fun brand. Betting is entertaining. We're going to embrace that. We're going to have, we're going to embrace the fact that we love people who are risk seekers. We love people who want to take risks. They want to make big bets. Let's embrace that. This is fun. So I think that's step one. We want to have a brand that connected with people. Step two then is really started to think about what are the elements that create community. And so we've done a lot of that around like Telegram groups and sort of being able to, have our audience communicate. We're still really early on that. And we're not, we spent a lot of time thinking about how our chat should integrate with our product. We actually haven't released that yet, but that's something that we think is really core. Social's not something that you just add on top of a product. we've had those experiences before. You added the social layer and you think it's going to be great and nothing happens. So we spend a lot of time thinking about what are the different elements that sort of drive social. It's probably an area we're still a little behind the leaders on, but we definitely want to get the way there. But we also think we can go much further. We just think that social is so interesting. We can create communities of people that like certain products, that connect online. There's a lot we think we can do.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And sometimes it feels like, the offline gambling experience is like so social by default. Like everyone is just, so excited, screaming. You have like drinks, dealers, and everything. And online, like as you mentioned, it's just like you and your screen. And then when someone started streaming, you kind of feel, the vibe of it.
It's part of a social. Yeah, it's insane. It's amazing how successful online gaming is, given how different it is from the offline product. Because the offline product is intrinsically social, and so that's something that we just want to build in at a core to the product. Is like it's a social experience. Like, and whether that's social, there's two very distinct types of social. One is with my friends, and the second type is with other people like me that are that I don't know. And they're very different types of social, but they're both really interesting, and we're kind of really exploring both.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks, Nigel, and I really appreciate you sharing these insights on the future of gambling and especially how player behavior is evolving right now.
Mm-hmm. No problem.